Hey, what's going on, everybody? Sorry I didn't have a big lead into this with a bunch of stuff that I did today. Day was pretty simple. I went to the gym and then went home, hung out for a bit. I had to do some classes online. Then I went to training for my wrestling school. Pretty good camp, man. We got a couple really good students right now. And you know, I like to keep it low numbers anyways. I feel like students get more work in when there's fewer of them. But of course, you want a lot of students to make money. But you know, the ones we got, it's working really well. It's going pretty well. So we'll see. Anyways, man, I wanted to touch on all the stuff that's going on with the WWE and AEW and all this thing. I usually don't get on those topics because everybody's so one-sided on everything. And I will preface this by saying I'm not a big fan of the WWE product right now at all. I'm not a fan of any booking for any company right now. Having said that, though, I really haven't watched much actual shows of like MLW and Hollywood. I haven't watched a show. I watched a match on there, but I haven't watched the whole episode to know how the storyline and stuff are going. But as far as AEW and WWE, I watch more WWE than AEW. But from what I've seen with AEW, obviously I like their talent. They got a lot of talent there. WWE, it's, you know, it is what it is, man. But I just want to touch on the fact that, you know, people are giving WWE so much shit and basically just bashing them. And as you know, what a lot of people don't understand is that you have several different kinds of fans. Your two main groups of fans are your marks and then your smarks, you know. And the smarks are generally the ones who are louder. And that's who post on the boards and do all the podcasts and the fucking websodes and the vlogs and all that stuff. And that's who's making the more of the buzz. And, you know, WWE has always survived on the kid fan base, except when they went Attitude Era. Which is one of the biggest times in pro wrestling. But it wasn't so many smarks around that time. Now it's rampant. Everybody's an expert. Everybody's a pro because they're fans. There's a lot that goes into booking and running companies. Not only do you have to deal with the wrestlers themselves, with other people, attitudes, just a plethora of things and ideas. And social media is, in my mind, is the biggest plus and the biggest negative that's happened to wrestling in the last 20 years. The plus, it gives wrestlers a chance to get their name out there, sell merchandise, reach a new audience. On the negative, it gives everybody a voice to tell you what they think or what they don't think and just bash. So I'll come at you like this with this whole thing. When AEW started, it was a bunch of guys who weren't getting looks or getting a push, who didn't feel that they were treated fairly with the WWE, that they had talent, and they do have talent. They wanted basically to get a look at. They feel they weren't going to get a big enough push, or that, you know, they were overlooked. And it was cool, man. It was, to me, when it came out, I was like, holy shit, this, you know, I know half those guys, but it was like a rebel thing. And I was like, fuck yeah, good. Finally, man. Finally, we get some competition. It was cool. And then next thing you know, they're building up these stars, guys who were underneath guys, or guys that were, you know, just indie guys that we knew of, were getting these pushes, the Cages and MJFs, and just, you know, of course, the Bucks and all those guys who were great. Getting all these pushes and stuff, and getting up on the card, getting their name out there. Then little by little, you start bringing in guys like a Moxley. Then next thing you know, you bring in a guy like Spears. Then you bring in a guy like Murrow, and all those guys that were coming in who were either WWE champs or WWE underneath guys that were great characters, great wrestlers. They just didn't get the push that they felt they deserved. They all come over. So they're utilizing them, giving them things to do, building up their guys. The next thing you know, we're getting bigger stars. Former WWE champions are coming in, and now you have a roster of a bunch of former WWE guys. So these guys you were pushing, getting ready for the next level, the next big things, they have to bump back down because now you're bringing in, so let's say Bray Wyatt comes in, Daniel Bryan comes in, say fucking Adam Cole comes in, and all these guys that were released or left are now coming into the picture, and they're gonna be top guys. One, they just left. Two, they're former WWE champs, so they're gonna be put on the top. It's gonna push everybody back down the roster, the pecking order, which is what they were fighting against in the first place. So now you have all these guys leaving and all the talent shifts over. So you have a bunch of these guys who are highly talented, upset they weren't getting a push, are now in the shuffle and in the same situation. They're going to get a push for a bit, and then next thing you know, they'll be back to being mid-card guys, doing whatever. But the guys who were mid-cards and are going underneath, now they want out. They want to go to the promised land. It's really easy for Vince to bring them over now. He'll get them cheaper, and he'll get young talent that felt they were getting fucked over. And they'll go to work NXT or whatever he's going to do with those guys. And, same thing to it. He'll repeat, he'll promise them the world and yada, yada, yada. When you have a plethora of talent, although when you look at the AEW roster, you think, holy shit, there's a lot of fucking talent. The problem with that is it costs a lot, and then you have to use people. And you have to get them on TV, get them spots. And then everybody else, it's a fucking, rolls down hills. The top guys stay on top. You got new guys coming in. Everybody has to bump down. So it opens up for WWE to hire younger guys who were high on AEW to come over because they're not going to get the push. And it's WWE's always going to rebound back. They always do. This is similar to what happened with WCW and the NWO type of thing. WWE was shit, and I'll tell you what, when I saw Men or Mabel and Sadio Vega in the finals of the King of the Ring, I wasn't a fan. And then, you look over with WCW, and there's Piper, there's Hogan, there's all those guys that are familiar faces. And then next thing you know, it's like everybody and their mother's there in the company, and there's not room for everybody. And what this guy's doing a lot, whatever, Tony Khan or whatever, from what I understand, I don't know, I'm not backstage, he's letting a lot of guys pretty much book their own shit. And he's, I guess, booking some stuff too or whatever. Whoever's in charge of the book, I don't know what's going on there. But when you have so much talent, so many names, you have to use those guys. Otherwise, why did you bring them over? They left the WWE because they weren't getting used. And I know people are going to say, well, they can go to Japan, they can go here. Not everybody can go to Japan and be a star. Not everybody can go do indie shows. Look at fucking Braun Strowman's asking like $20,000 for a booking right now on the indie circuit, So, although Bray Wyatt, in my opinion, not the Fiend character, but the Bray Wyatt character was probably one of the best characters I've seen, and ever. I mean, that was a fucking great character, and the whole faction. I'll tell you what, a lot of people don't probably remember this segment because WWE killed it right away because it was probably getting over. There was a segment where the Wyatt family was on this side of the ring and the Shield was on this side of the ring, and you could just feel like, holy shit, this is going to be fucking good. And then had one match and it was over. But that's just the way WWE does stuff. Drop the ball like usual. But I don't know, people are just shitting on WWE, and if you look at the storylines in AEW, they're not like they're fucking great either. Doing shit, the fucking exploding ring thing was a fucking abortion. The falling off the top of the cage onto the thing. I mean, those things like that are really bad too. And I will admit though that the stuff I have seen with the AEW, it's more indie-rific, but it's pretty fucking good. Like I like a lot of the stuff they're doing. But when you start bringing in too much talent, what do you do with the guys who were on the come up? They're gonna leave. It's just the way it is. And then they're still bringing in like the white kid, Jay White or Pat, whatever his name is, Jay White from Japan and stuff, and they're working with Impact and all that. But I mean, at some point, Kenny Omega's great. But I mean, you can't just not book him. The Young Bucks are obviously two of the most entertaining guys in wrestling today. They got to be on your shows, and you can not use them at this point. But you can only have so much storyline, man. The fans don't remember shit, and But right now they're getting by doing this word counterculture to WWE. And I actually saw the promo Cody Rhodes did. And I like him and Malachi Black. I think it's gonna be fucking great. Anything Cody Rhodes does is fucking good. I was a mark for the fucking Stardust character. I thought I've just been a fan of his. He's fucking legit. I mean, him and his brother, they're just two of my favorites of all time. Cody being able to do his own thing is, I just like it. I think I fucking like what he's doing. But so you put that match on a show, and then you have to put so-and-so against so-and-so on a show. And then next thing you know, you're getting 10-man tag matches. And, I do like what they were doing with the Dark Order. And, what's the cowboy guy's name? Who I fucking a mark for, too. I think he's really good. Against the Elite. I thought that whole entrance shit was great. But, you can only do so much of that stuff. Brody King was another one that I thought was really good, too. But I was happy a lot of those guys are going. I was a big fucking Rusev fan. I was glad he was able to go over there and shine. But, like I said, what do you do with when you have so much talent and these guys left because they weren't getting utilized? At some point, they're going to leave again because they're not getting utilized, So I would just tell people, you can shit on WWE all you want. It goes through cycles. They're going to bounce back. They always do. But like I said, I do want to tell you this. I'm not a big fan of what they're doing. I think for the whole thing with The Fiend right now, what just kills me, I think it kills everything, is when you got Alexa Bliss, who I actually did like the character she's doing, who's going on there possessing people and whatever. I mean, we're going to suspend disbelief or whatever it is, but she's going to go on there and try to play this character. She's possessing people, she's evil, and the fucking black Ultimate Warrior blood and all this shit. But then she's posting on Twitter that her pig died and she's crying and stuff. It just defeats the purpose of your demonic soul when you're crying because your pig died. And not that it's not a sad thing, it is, but that's the problem with social media, is you let these fans get in your life and you can't play a character. Now wrestling's not even character based. It's there's nothing to intrigue the fans anymore. And it's a shame. But wrestling evolves, and I think right now it's going through an evolving phase. I don't like a lot of the psychology nowadays, but I'm an old school guy, and I understand that it does change. Wrestling, it always evolves and it changes, and this is just a new way. I just wish that fans would try to train, and once you train, you think of things differently. With the quality trainer, quality school, it's really easy to sit back. It's the whole Monday armchair quarterback thing. It's really easy to critique what people are doing when you've never done it. And when you're a fan or a mark, and you're booking a show and you're saying what you would do, you have to understand you're doing what your opinion is and what you think is the best thing to do, not knowing all the particulars that go into it. If you're an AJ Styles fan, he's going to be your champion, or the big thing is he's an NXT guy, I put him on the main roster, he should be the champ now because I know him from NXT. Those guys don't get a chance to build and grow, and working the main roster is different than working NXT. So I don't know, man. I just wish fans would just be fans and not try to be bookers and in the business, because it's a totally different thing. Booking and being in charge of it, especially with WWE, you're not. There's not like one guy with the pencil saying, "Hey, this is what we're doing tonight." You have a group of people, and people want to say, "Well, Vince has total control," and he really doesn't. He has these writers and stuff. And let's face it, Vince is basically the Joe Biden of fucking pro wrestling. He's really not pulling the strings. He says when he doesn't like something, and they more than likely do it. But they have writing teams. But like I said, when you start writing guys who do sitcoms and stuff to write your wrestling shows, it's going to fail. And that's what's happening right now. They just have the wrong people writing stuff, and they're allowing the fans to be too much involved in what they do. Let's not forget, Roman Reigns was the biggest piece of shit in the world. Now that he's heel, people love everything he does. Even though he's a heel, they're marking out for him. But 2 years ago, they wanted his head off. They wanted him gone. Why he's in the company? So people figure it out eventually. And like I said, WWE is going to rebound. It may take them a while, but they're going to bounce back and come up with some shit. And we'll go from there. I just hope AEW figures out a way to curtail their talent, let's say, and be able to utilize people, and not a bunch of 6-man, 10-mans, fucking, oh, let's do the Battle Royal this week. And I could probably do another video on this whole thing. I think the biggest problem with the wrestling is it's too fucking easy to get into the business. You know, there's no fucking really certificate you gotta have. There's nothing. You know, they fucking just pretty much let anybody in. If you own a ring, you could be on a show. Hell, I've been on shows like that with some people. You know, I think another big place where the WWE dropped the ball was they seem to go after people who are stars in other aspects of life, sports, or whatever, and you use them to create their performance center guys, talent guys, and then go on from there. Whereas you should be pulling from indie guys, I think, anyways. Yes, if you get somebody who was a fucking Olympic gold medalist, you know, yes, bring them in, but they just seem to be, oh, this person won the X Games, well, let's offer her a job. And they're not getting real wrestling fans, or real wrestling people who loved it, who want to be in the business. They're getting people they offer money to try to be a pro wrestler. And that's, I think, what the problem is. So anyways, man, I like I said, wrestling evolves, it's changing. I hope it changes all around for the better, and people start trying to take shit serious, and it gets better. Some of us who are the old guys, we try to teach a certain way, but these kids are out doing shows and everybody's slapping the leg and everybody's doing let's no sell 40 moves, and you know, it's hard to tell them not to, you know, when those are the guys that are stars right now. So anyways, man, I'm rambling on too much. I know people are gonna have comments on this and maybe not agree. Just remember, man, WCW did the same thing, and then it blew up in their face. When you have too much talent that thinks they've all been fucked, and they all should be the champ, and they all should be the main person, you know, it doesn't work out. It doesn't work out. You know, there's a reason why you have guys that are underneath. You have guys like Jimmy Snuka, Junkyard Dog, you know, Rick Rude, Perfect. Those guys knew their place. They were happy what they were doing. Hogan drew the money. And, you know, some people were upset or jealous, but at the end of the day, when you go do a house show somewhere and you get paid $6,000 for the night and you're match 2, kind of fixes a lot of problems you may have, you know. So anyways, man, please like, subscribe, comment. We'll talk about it. And again, just so you know, I'm not a fan of the WWE product right now. I'm just trying to think about it critically. And I look at it as a business wrestler standpoint. Too much talent. What do you do with everybody? Anyways, man, talk to you later. I love you. Boom.